Welcome back to the channel Outriders. Today we will not only be talking about legendary guns in the demo, but going a step further and ranking them in order from worst to best. If you have some hands-on experience, feel free to leave a comment down below ranking them yourselves. Before we get started, I encourage you to consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you do not miss any future Outriders content from hitting your sub box. Let's get into it. We're going to do things back-asswards today, so worst to best counting down. So who is the poor soul starting first on this list? None other than the Migraine. Sorry fella, but unfortunately you're rated worse in the demo, and it's not because it's necessarily terrible on its own, but rather that its mods are a little underwhelming, and they are of course bugged in the demo, and are undergoing a full rework by the developers. Hopefully its makeover turns it into something more than just something I want to grill in my backyard. Its bleed may have a place at some level in the game, but that remains to be seen, so it's held along by its bombs ahead perk, and if it's able to be used frequently, could have some of the best AoE damage in the game if it works properly. Imagine a thermal bomb like explosion off gun kills, that could be quite useful. See what it ends up turning into. Next up, and not much of an upgrade, is the Grimm Marrow LMG. I expect to see some solid mod combinations on LMGs in general at endgame, and this could be a great candidate for it. It does a solid amount of damage on its own, and when coupled with twisted rounds or blighted rounds, it's instantly reloaded the moment that ability is activated, so with its 80 round capacity, if you pop it right before you empty the mag, you can get upwards of 150 shots uninterrupted on it without a reload, and the back half of that is going to be the stronger rounds with twisted rounds or blighted rounds. It's currently being examined and suspected of not working properly, much like the Migraine, which is why it's at the bottom of the list. When its singularity perk does happen to appear, it's a quite nice little explosion that can kill the enemies within its blast radius. Its other mod slows enemies, which is a massive crowd control and could be quite useful if paired with others too. It does seem strong, but others have thought of how great weightlessness mod from the Aerie Master may be in taking its place, lifting waves of enemy in the air because of its large mag capacity. You could clear an entire field by just boosting them up into the air. If Singularity can activate more frequently, the gun could easily shoot up the list into a popular position once mods become along in the right build. Next up, we have the Golem's Limb. The Golem's Limb sounds great on paper, but I am not sold on it and wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being the worst legendary in the game. It seems promising on the Trickster top tree build and may synergize well with Devastator at endgame, but it doesn't seem very strong on its own and revolves around getting kills for the Golem to activate. If you aren't able to chain kills, those 3 seconds every once in a while don't really amount to anything. It seems to be designed for possible speedruns or solo play, and is really only valuable against weak mobs like the Rifleman. I imagine it falling off hard in group play and higher difficulties to the point that it wouldn't even be worth using in those circumstances. Vampire, however, may have some potential later on, depending on how that mod will work with abilities and synergize with other mods. Number 7 on my list is the Voodoo Matchmaker. On paper, it also seems like a possible big in-game weapon, and it looks almost designed strictly for extremely tanky bosses or enemies. It could definitely have its place in the meta, and maybe even a must-have weapon, but I would need to be convinced. Damage Link is a pretty neat idea, but not near as strong as many other damage sharing or splash mods and abilities in the game. It was tweaked and looks stronger since the start of the demo too. The vulnerability bullets will be massive and is one of the most promising things in the demo. Can't wait to see how that ends up at endgame. The gun does not seem great against standard mobs, but could establish itself as a great gun against tanky enemies or in boss fights. While you constantly send rounds down range, the damage will likely over time kill all the weaker enemies in close proximity to the tankier ones, which will help their numbers thin out over time. It does seem extremely situational though. We will see. 6 on the list are the dual-wield pistols, Torment and Agony. Torment and Agony have a great amount of clearing potential, and their main mod scales on weapon damage and could be a great asset to extract and add to guns with an easy or frequent reload or burst at endgame. Clip combustion is not very strong nor useful as it pops off your body too, where enemies realistically are not going to be next to you. The guns are neat, but their reliability out to range is also very questionable. I like these guns in close quarters, but I'm not a massive fan of the mods that are on them by default. I think with some experimentation, these could be turned into an aggressive close quarter option. Breaking in the top 5, we have the Iceberg. It hits hard and the mods on it go well with the name. The Iceberg is a winter-built sniper that can freeze on crits, but it doesn't always proc, but I'm not 100% sure why. My guess is headshots don't register as crits like other guns in the game do on the sniper, or this sniper particularly, and is actually dictated by critical hits versus your stats. This means it could be quite useful at endgame if we can buff that critical hit chance up via mods or beyond. When it does, it's very effective and could build well with another second mod for boss burst damage or even some crowd control. Icebreaker is its second mod, and it's quite nice too for weaker mobs, but relies on the freezing first, so it's situational at best, and I feel will be better off replaced by another mod. Number 4 is a sweet and simple explanation. This is the RAROG'S Gaze. The rifle is a very potent gun that would benefit from mods heavily in in-game. Its mods are not terrible, as weakness could become quite valuable for in-game content, making the enemies obviously hit you for less, but the burn one seems a little lackluster. The mods are honestly what hold this gun back from being one of the best, and with a little testing, it could become one of the best well-rounded damage dealers in the game for single target damage. The final 3 begins with the Aerie Master. It has one of the best forms of crowd control in the game with weightlessness. That elevates the enemy in the air for 5 seconds at a time, leaving them open to be damaged, and works on a lot of enemies and can tag multiple enemies in just one shot. The mod alone will be a sought after one for in-game, assuming it's not heavily resisted. It's arguably the strongest mod in the demo, but if you have fought Gauss, you would know that it doesn't come in handy often. Let's hope that doesn't translate to in-game enemies. Critical point is a little underwhelming, but maybe as a sniper option or even on the Iceberg as an alternative, it might have a place at some point. Runner-up for best in the demo is the Amber Vault. I've heard a bunch of things about this and that on the gun, if it's good, if it's bad, and I personally thought that even though it has been nerfed in the demo, it could very well still be a great source of single target damage at in-game. Amber Vault has ammo regeneration, where critical hits procs that regeneration and headshots count as critical hits, so if you're hitting the head over and over and over again, you simply do not lose ammo. This perk coupled with a nice crowd control mod and some good aim could be massive. The Killing Spree mod has 3 stacks of 30% extra damage, making it promising even after the nerf. It will be harder to maintain on its own, as kill shots are required, so other teammates killing kills, spongy enemies, and the ability kills could slow down the stack generation. You need the kills with the gun itself, and the stacks wear off after 30 seconds. Still, if you can kill, doubling your double gun is some big single target damage. It's one of the only guns in the game that can kill the demo captains without any extra help from abilities when its stacks are active. Last on our video, in first place overall as the best legendary in the demo, is the Thunderbird. Now, it isn't some miraculously strong gun and could easily be a bit lower down on another person's list, but not on mine. Its burst from the lightning really allows you to barely put a bullet or two into weak mobs and erase them, making it good for fast enemy clear, and when you have sustained fire, you can get its mod to activate 5 times per mag on a single tanky target. So 1 mag of 40 rounds does the damage of 60 bullets due to that charge, which is some hefty single target damage. It's like squeezing in an extra half mag worth of damage. Its Striga perk, however, is a health regeneration based off of your critical damage percentage, and in the right hands will allow some sustainability, which could be great paired with other survival mods down the line, possibly like Golem. The potential for these mods on other guns, or importing others to it, may allow it to continue to be not only one of the best for fast enemy clear, but also a consistent and strong option for damage against tankier enemies and bosses. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 10 legendary guns of the demo, ranked in order from yours truly. Let me know if you have any other awesome mod combinations or information to add to this video or this list, and I encourage you to let me know what your list would be down in the comment section below. Thank you again for choosing on this video, and if you would like to leave a rating, it would help out tremendously. Have a great day, and happy legendary hunting, Outriders.